good.
But we saw OMG absolutely bully people during Group Stage 1, so it is not impossible they pull out a little bit of that old form. One thing to watch out for, though, is that, oh my god, don't really have a deep character pool, like, at all. They were first banning Yabeneth all day yesterday. Here they start with Valheim. I wonder if that's intentional per team that they're playing, or if maybe they still have to ban the Yabeneth as well.
I mean, Ignis needs to be the ban here for Bazaar. Curious to see what the pickup will be. Actually, I'm hesitant on this decision to ban the Lindis here at this stage because it just really means the Bazaar is going to get two hyper powerful picks here.
But it does mean they'll force either Richter or Ignis over to OMG. Now, if I'm Bazaar, I'm not as worried about this as I am versus a good team. Oh my goodness! You cut me off midway through that sentence. I'm not as worried about it versus I am versus a good team that's hyper practiced on their meta.
Okay, good. I'm glad there was more to that sentence.
Yes, it wasn't just I think OMG are bad. That's not the end of the sentence, because they're not. Now, the oh my goodness that cut that off was that Bazaar Gaming called the bluff. They banned Yabeneth as well. That means there will be an Ignis through here, and we'll get Richter.
Oh, no.
Probably. Then, oh, okay, that wasn't what I was going to say, but you get the jungle locked in, indeed, Defoxen pulling out a Kriknak as well as the Richter.
So the world of OMG now becomes, how do I keep the man with the beard alive?
Well, the Ignis is very, very good. Like, people forget exactly how great Ignis is as a mage. So the dive from Bazaar needs to be on point. Now, they do have a great Kriknak player, and the Richter as well will be mean if they can get scaled. So early game jungle control is a big factor for me if OMG want to shut down either of those from scaling to the point where they can beat backline. So, yes, the logical thing to do, like OMG are doing, is build tank, but I don't think that's exclusively what they need. They also need the potential to get into the enemy's jungle and bully them away. Going double frontline, double tank is understandable, but I don't think it's right.
Yeah, I think this is I'm already sensing a very defensive playstyle here from OMG, which against a team like Bazaar, you simply cannot do. If you allow Bazaar to set the pace of the game, you don't win that game. I mean, this is how confident Bazaar is. Defoxen claims that he can master a character simply by reading their ability descriptions. That's literally all he needs to do to win.
Can I read you a quote we have for that same document from Jommy?
Yes, I was looking. Yes.
Jommy says, "Fear doesn't exist in my dictionary."
I need that on one of those black and white inspirational wall posters.
With like a washed out photo of him?
Yeah. Or just like a person with a canoe. Either one.
Maybe he's just complaining. He needs a new dictionary. Raz will be the lock-in for Jobby.
Just all the F's are missing.
That gives him the ability to.
How could he pay respects though?
Heavy frontline provided by OMG. It doesn't matter how tanky you are, but the Raz can still bully you out of position. And that is an obvious answer. Now, for Bazaar, I'd be looking for them to get some sustained damage in their backline as well. I'd look for a sideline marksman. Maybe that Telenas coming out again, something along those lines.
I would love to see more Telenas here. She's actually one of my favorite side lane range marksmen. I just love the fact that she can just rip people purely with auto attacks. Like, we don't have a lot of, like, god tier auto attackers in the game, and she is definitely one of my favorites with that max range eagle eye. Yeah, gotta love it. I like this Annette ban here as well. It's more control. Superman is still an option, though, for Bazaar, and we saw the power of the Raz Superman in that last set.
Bazaar, all three of the major picks that O70 is known for are taken out here. That's their support player, of course. And we've seen such a good Yabeneth from him, but the fact that they banned the Yabeneth makes me think that they know what they're playing in support, and it might indeed be that Superman they were hovering earlier. They're going to ban out backline characters now because it's so obvious that it's going to be double frontline into strong backline from OMG. So the Fennec is the marksman that would fit best into that composition, and it's now gone.
It's going to be interesting to see who OMG picks up now for their jungle. Violet's off the board as well. We haven't seen much Slims, or almost any Slims at all so far. There's a Superman ban. That is 100% correct. Clearly they were watching those last matches.
Superman would be very strong into this. It taken off the board limits Bizarre's choices, but honestly, I don't think they need a full dive comp. They have enough dive. Now maybe start worrying about a sustained damage from your side lane, and I don't think Marja is it, but I can see why.
Marja is 100%.
Marja doesn't fit the sustained damage anti-tank role I'm looking for. She's very, very good in this composition. She'll be able to get past the tanks, do a lot of damage onto them, last for a long time in the fight, but she's not constantly chipping away at the HP of the big tanks, like, say, a Telenas would in the side lane. And because they've drafted the Marja, they won't have room for something like a Telenas in the side lane. Which
is potentially what we're seeing right now from OMG. I like this pickup. This actually, I kind of wanted the Zephy's jungle is something I kind of wanted that assassin jungle, because then they're able to go in with the Crest, with the Malik, allow them to just create such a distraction.
That last double pick actually completely changes around their draft for me.
Oh yeah,
because it gives them a super good slam dunk duo.
You
can go for the dunk squat. You start off with Metamorphosis, follow with the shock, follow with the death from above. That's a lot of AoE stuns cycled. And it means that your front line can be a little bit more aggressive because you have the eagle eye zoning. Nobody's going to be able to get close to the Telenas, and this Telenas can just hover in the backlines with the Ignis and do a ton of damage. OMG have built themselves the perfect fortress. Bizarre, I don't think, have nearly enough to crack it. They have a lot of repositioning tools. It's not yet assured that they'll be able to do more than reposition.
The draft is interesting. It's not the most damage-intensive draft I've ever seen. I feel like between the Zephyrus, Ignis, and Telenas, OMG has a lot of damage to work with.
I legitimately don't have a favorite. This could go either way.
It's going to come down to, I think, it's going to come down to, like, on paper, who we think is the better team, I think.
Bizarre Gaming's record speaks for themselves, but if OMG are comfortable with this draft, and I'm seeing a lot of characters in there that have Chinese analogs in their edition of the game, then I think they do win this. I think I like their draft more if it's executed well. The room for error is error. If he can get into the backlines with that Raz, push people around, then maybe, just maybe, they're able to completely invalidate the tanky frontline that was established. The big damage will shred them over the course of the game.
Well, we'll see if that's going to be the case. We'll see if the Chinese Hope will be able to take it, or if Bizarre Gaming will stand strong and clinch the victory here, progressing onwards in good standing into the main portion of the AIC.
And it is all on... Oh my god. Should they win this, they get tie breaks with for clockers. Should they lose it, they're out of the tournament.
And keep in mind, they came in here, you know, playing on our... Like, they came in playing the Chinese version of AOV. They're not, you know, necessarily experts here at this particular iteration of the game, but their mechanics are still incredibly strong, and they have had the ability to practice and scrim. And I feel like we're seeing that more and more here, but already starting things off, the Thane making his presence known, that valiant charge, just saying, hi, XH, how you doing?
I really like the Thai play in general. They're one of the strongest regions. They don't really play a lot of Thane. So the fact that we're seeing the Thane pulled out here is actually more significant than it is for us with our global knowledge. In the West, we've seen quite a few Thanes. I think that's really cool. O7T definitely will make it work with his composition, operating as kind of a tanky addition to this reposition comp.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of that here, but I'm really watching towards Moon here as well. This Telenas needs to be played perfectly. The positioning needs to be spot on all game long. She cannot get caught out at all here. 1 or 2 deaths in the early game will spell disaster for Oh My God.
They need to play it perfectly. Already, they're putting a lot of defensive emphasis. You can see that that's almost a duo lane that's been happening down bottom with Moon. And that's very rare in AoV. You typically don't see duo lanes, but Honor of Kings, I believe, the Chinese edition of the game, duo lane is occasionally meta. So that might be what they're thinking here, putting LZ down there with Moon.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of in MOBAs as a whole. Traditionally, though, we see more of that roaming support, but dual lane support is certainly viable here, as we are seeing the initial rounds of damage going through. Cricknack was able to pick up that Spirit Sentinel. The battle for the Abyssal Dragon is going on. Ashkin and Leash here. So a little bit of mispositioning there from LZ. They're not going to be able to clean this up. That was actually a blessing for Bizarre Gaming right there. This might give them a chance to reset their HP a little bit.
They kind of, OMG keeping it within the zone.
What?
They'll be able to actually keep this Abyssal going.
Oh my, that's actually huge. As on the flank, Ignis, played by XH, absolutely shredding through a 70 and allowing the Abyssal Dragon to go the way of OMG. Sky as well. It's going to be the next target here. The follow-up is there. One more auto will make it happen. And that is 3 kills and a Dragon going to OMG.
My favorite comp will so far look good. Defoxen is now here with Jummy.
And we do see the flank going in, the Richter doing work, 2-for-1 trade, bringing back the gold a little bit that was lost there for Bizarre.
Not a bad start at all, particularly because Defoxen didn't go down. Overall, Bizarre are suffering, but their key characters, the ones that need to carry the team, are still doing okay. Defoxen has 2 assists, no deaths. The Richter is 2-for-1 in early game trades. That is acceptable. Worried about Error, to be honest. Error definitely needs to be a major carry for the team, and we're not seeing that yet.
I need to see this Raz. Raz is one of those heroes because you put yourself in such terrible positions while you're also putting your enemies in terrible positions. And a good team will look to shut that down instantly here. A good team like OMG knows the value of that Raz. They've been watching these games already today where Raz has been a key component to success, and they are not going to let Error play his game at all. Watchman's positioning here, and at LZ, why? Their job is to keep them alive and to make Error's life so difficult.
Did you see Arrow just get bumped by the aquatic shield leap into that piercing shot?
Oh, yeah.
Because I did, and that was insane.
That's
the extra stun coming from that seam flag.
Is that high-level communication, that again, that just cerebral interaction. Oh, LZ, though, actually getting baited out in that metamorphosis. That was a bit of a misplay there from him. XH not really under a lot of threat by Yosemite there, but on the flank we do have the death from above going in. Air not going to fall. The Valiant charge bringing them back into Foxen. It's going to try and follow up on this, but the Richter damage is not just not there. It's just because I was going to say the Richter damage, the Zephyrus damage is a little bit of enough to get this out here, but the Richter was not in that fight.
No, and that's a little bit worrying. You're absolutely right, Jummy. Hovering to the side, Moon will be trying to take his tower now, and it's on him for wave clear. He'll get it. He's still doing enough for that. The Abyssal Dragon will be the shift in focus for OMG. Arrow and Jummy are still here to contest.
They are going to look to go in, but instead, S686 is going to pick it up. That is 2 Abyssal Dragons going the way of OMG. The Chinese Hope are doing work so far in this series. Bizarre's Gaming's draft is a little... I mean, I understand what they're doing here. They're trying to mimic what they saw earlier in the day, utilizing that Thane instead of that Superman. It's not having quite the same effect.
Well, they don't have the sustain and punish. This was what I was talking about in the draft and why I kind of dislike the Marja pickup. Because you can be repositioning people, but they don't have anyone to just sit in the backlines of the fight and do consistent damage. The closest they have will be Jummy on the Richter, and I'm not sure if that's enough, particularly given how aggressive he's playing as the initiator.
Yeah, he's in no way a backline. It's really coming down to Sky to fill that role. And again, Marja, the low-key damage dealer, I always say this. She doesn't look like Marja's doing a lot of damage. And you look at the stat screen at the end, and she's like 30-35% of her team's damage. It's like, oh, okay, that's something right there. So I think Sky can be that chip damage they need, but Moon will just be doing such a better job. And Jami, trying to go in, is able to clear the wave, keep the tower alive a little bit longer, because against a Telenas, that thing's going to fall quick.
Another thing, of course, to mention, mid lane.
Mid lane going in, the save from LZ, the aquatic shield, into the follow-up metamorphosis, keeping XH alive. He looked like he was in a terrible position, but the team collapsed beautifully, predicting the rotation from Bizarre.
Wonderfully done, XH. That was an excellent Holy Embers as well. Now the bot lane focus comes through. OMG should finally be able to convert all these kills into a tower.
That was absolutely masterful from OMG. Again, I watched this team play in the very first group stage, and I thought, wow, this is a squad that I'm watching out for. Disappointed me a little bit yesterday against Overclockers, but they seem to be back in their classic form right now up against Bizarre. They are ahead by 2.5k gold, looking good, starting to clear out these towers, but they need to continue to push forward on these objectives.
OMG will want to grab this Abyssal Dragon. If Bizarre want to stay in it, they ought to be contesting them, but I don't think they have the time for it. There'll be a lone power surge flung in there by error, but it's hopeful, if nothing else.
Yeah, well, maybe a little optimistic there, as it were, as it's just thrown out far too late. And I just love how well this Malik is playing right now. Y is doing such a great job of clearing out his lane in such good time that he can rotate, get pressure elsewhere on the map, leaving Sky just to sit back and play wave clear.
That's what they're doing. I mean, Bizarre Gaming are playing to a late game activation. That's very obvious in how they're setting up. Ooh, good pick. It's very much about how they survive till late game. That's why they're sustaining these towers for so long. They're mostly worried about wave clear and then finding opportunities.
And they are looking to create these opportunities themselves right now. But really, what I'm watching is how OMG is going to continue to pressure as a group. We've seen some fantastic team fights from them so far. We're seeing another one break out here in the mid as well. That is Metamorphosis to follow up on to 070. And the damage, the consistent stuns just wearing him through. XH, the combo is absolutely flawless. The self combo that we see these Ignises, these top tier Ignises just master so consistently.
LZ's timings on those Metamorphosis I have been perfect every time so far. It's just pixel perfect timing for the stuns.
Absolutely flawless, but I maybe spoke too soon. The flaw is being exposed in mid right now. Defoxin is the last bug standing, forced to just escape, to horns tucked between his legs. Back to farming he goes, but OMG says, hey, there's a jungle right here. It's not ours, that's fine, we're gonna take it anyway.
070 wants to contest, but this is a 1v3.
Oh, he does steal the blue buff, though. That was actually huge. Keeping that away from XH is going to be massive, probably forcing XH to back right here in just a second.
So this is a little bit deceptive. Many high-level teams can do this, lose very, very well. That's what Bizarre Gaming are doing. They are behind, make no mistake, but they're only about 3,000 gold behind. And that is significant, because that 3,000 gold lead can be closed by 1 or 2 kills and an Abyssal. Any good team fight going their way, and that lead is gone. So don't count them out yet.
Ooh, I'm going to count them out if Error gets himself picked off there by S6 putting out the combo, and wow, really devastating damage going through. Error is actually in a rough spot. He decided to back in the wrong neighborhood. Now the Fox is here with the drone drop. LZ utilizing that Metamorphosis perfectly, and now Moon is there. Oh my gosh, that stun CC train combo. LZ, that timing was frame perfect.
Every single time, and now he's here for the cutoff. The Metamorphosis will be ending, but it almost doesn't matter because the tower has already been picked up, and that lead that I was talking about being quite small has just grown substantially.
He just powers right on through with these Metamorphosi. They have been so on point. Not only are they keeping his team alive, they're pushing back those key targets that his team is going to take down. They've simultaneously been the best defensive and offensive tool. You talk about the all-in engage combo. The deaths from above have been there. S686 is totally on the same page. Whatever happened to OMG yesterday, they are styling right now. They took it to heart, and they come back so much stronger today.
This is just OMG relying on their team play. They managed to, I would argue, win the draft phase, and I've always held that their team play, their map play is the strength of this team. So when they got past the draft phase, when their lack of knowledge in Arena of Valor wasn't able to be exploited by Bizarre Gaming, now they're just winning off of pure team play.
And they're going to have to continue this trend, but also look towards some of the other those little fundamentals as well, because pure team play going up against some of the best teams in the world are just not going to be enough. But I guess maybe if you're just this mechanically excellent, it is, because Bizarre Gaming, you have them pegged to go all the way to the grand finals.
Yeah, I really am a little bit worried for Bizarre Gaming right now, because this should not be even close on paper. I'll have to play it very smart. I think at this point, winning this game may be out of the question with 4,000 gold behind. If they last 15-20 minute mark, shrink the gold lead, then maybe. But to be frank, this doesn't look like a winnable game. Even if they kill this Drake, the Abyssal Dragon's an obvious pickup. Jommy's there to try and cut it off. Maybe they can threaten OMG enough they don't feel comfortable. But without a strong team fight victory to Bizarre Gaming, they have no path back into this game.
Part of the issue with this as well is that OMG scales wonderfully in the late game. Telenos, combine that with the Crest, who scales fairly well, but with the Malik and the Ignis in the late game, I actually don't think that Bizarre Gaming lost a game early that they should have been winning, but I think it's because OMG's draft has power spikes at all levels of the game. When you hit Crash to hit level 4, and you have the Holy Embers, you have all that follow-up, you have the Death from Above, and then combining that into that mid to late game Talon is just dealing that consistent damage. OMG, I think, came near perfect in this draft, and Zo70, nice dodge on the Death from Above. He is going to be able to escape a little bit longer, but still, this Abyssal Dragon is under threat, and O70 is going to go down. S686 as well. The follow-up is there. Nice Ghost Walk, the dodge going in. He's trying to chase down air. As in the back line, Richter is there to try and contest this Abyssal Dragon.
He needs to steal this dragon, otherwise the game is over.
He goes in, trying to make it happen, and he does it! Jommy, you absolute monster!
Jommy, you beast! He might have just saved his team with the Abyssal Dragon buff over to Bizarre Gaming. They have a chance. It is not a big one. They are still behind, now down 2 players for the next 26 seconds, but they have a chance.
There is a moment in this game where Bizarre Gaming might have found a window, and that was just it. There was one action that Jommy needed to complete. He needed to steal that dragon, and he did it. S6 also fell. You couldn't have got any better for him right there. He brought his team back from the precipice.
And now look at how much map control they've been able to gain thanks to the buff. That gold lead is shrinking again, and for the first time in quite a few minutes, they're out of their base because they managed to clean out their jungle. That gold lead will get smaller. Now if they can challenge for the next major objective, they have an opportunity. None of their high grounds are down, and that, we always say, is the rule of thumb for a almost impossible comeback, because Bizarre Gaming never lost a high ground. All they need is one team fight, and this is a tie game.
I haven't taken a single tower yet to their name, but as you said, because they have those key high ground towers in place, they can macro traditionally. What happens when you lose that high ground? They start spawning those super minions. You have to totally change the way you play out your macro. But now, because they still have that infrastructure in place, they can just continue to play this out at their own pace.
Good pressure comes through. Sky, this is a deep dive.
It's going in onto Moon. All the ults are being burned, and on the flank, the Death from Above, off the back of Beautiful Metamorphosis. Sarah's going to be the target there as well. The fall of the Holy Embers, the crash as well, and nicely done. 2 quick kills coming through. Make it, I was going to say, oh, baby, a triple, but no. DeFoxin, it walked away.
Oh! That was tight. The recall comes through just as LZ walks into the bush, but it comes through. He's fine. Everything's great.
Everything's fine.
Those 2 kills are pretty major, though. Bizarre Gaming perhaps overcommitted off of the back of that dragon steal. They were still in a deficit. They definitely couldn't take the 3v5 they tried for, and now OMG are going to quite happily challenge their high ground. This needs to be a hold.
All that happened because Moon was able to stay alive. Bizarre Gaming threw out the damage, but he was just able to kite back. LZ created space. The flank came through from S6, and really, that was just the team play, like you mentioned. This is the trademark of OMG, their ability to just make, you know, lemons, or lemonade out of lemon. No, lemons out of lemonade. They're just that good.
That classic drink. Americana. Bizarre Gaming will push the bot lane during this time. They'll trade 1 tower, possibly 2, in exchange for that Dark Slayer. It's not worth it. If they can maybe catch off an individual, they can turn this round, but it has to be perfect.
Yeah, but they'll only find Y, the tankiest member of OMG. They're still going to try and take him down, but he has the shock to escape. They were sitting in that bush. They wanted someone else there, but LZ will have the Metamorphosis. He's going to try and cut them off. But he's not overcommitting for it. I like this decision. Didn't have an ideal target to take down, so didn't want to burn that key ultimate.
But Bizarre Gaming do play it almost perfectly. They control the map, they take a tower, they split back when they don't get what they want. Now it is possible, but they do need to hold against a Dark Slayer. 45 seconds left for the summon. It comes through in the bot lane with Wave. OMG are pushing for the core.
They're pushing in right now onto the high ground. They need to get through this tower first. They're going to make it happen. LZ, the strong frontliner here, and they're all going right on in. 070 getting absolutely chunked. The shock is there. Only finds Sky. DeFox is on the flank. Keep an eye out for him. He's going to look to go in with a drone drop. Some key abilities missing right now is X6. They do have the wave clear. And on the flank now, Jami's going in on the Moon. Just at the flicker back, the Metamorphosis as well, and XH is surviving through this, but Moon is in the thick of all of it. However, the rest of the team has collapsed, converted, and taking down those kills. It is all the XH show.
Jami lands the perfect engage again, poised to save his team, but they do not touch XH. Moon is the only one to fall, Jami is the only one to get a kill, and 070 will go down as well, guaranteeing OMG this game.
That is going to be it. That is going to be game number 1. OMG taking down Bizarre Gaming. What a fantastic upset from them.
Absolutely massive. Bizarre Gaming, one of the expected favorites of the AIC as a whole, goes down to the Chinese team that lost to Toro yesterday.
What a stellar performance. I mean, this is the OMG I wanted. This is the OMG I was looking for yesterday, and we just did not see it. And they played a somewhat similar draft to this too. Obviously, they didn't have the Ignis, but having that strong front line, that strong back line, and just keeping it separate, splitting out the fight. I think, honestly, the key to this, though, was S686 on that Zephys. He was the one, you know, coming in on these sick flanks. He was the one toting the line between front and back line, getting those key critical pickups, and I think he helped lead his team to victory here.
The stat line for the endgame tells the story. Moon with 29% of the damage, XH with 27%. That duo was the key to OMG's Fortress setup. I was questioning this comp until Moon came out as the last pick with the Telenas. The second that Telenas was added to the composition, I said maybe. I said possibly. And that possibility turned out to be correct, like you say, mostly off the back of that fantastic Crashed opener. I have to say, our colleagues in Thailand look a little bit put out. But it's not over yet. There's still more chances for the Thai home team to make things happen. They do need to step it up, though.
Yeah, they absolutely do. They, again, showed some moments of brilliance in that last game. There's a couple moments there. That Richter snipe on the Abyssal Dragon just showing the pure mechanics at their disposal. But overall, still, I feel like this is a series very much favoring the momentum that OMG will just have built off of that, because you could see the smiles on their faces. You could see how much they were in the zone after that. If they can continue that and carry that forward, we have to talk about momentum, especially when you're up there in a LAN environment on stage. Feeding off of each other's energy in that live environment, it escalates things to the nth degree.
That will matter, but I think the other thing that I want to see Bizarre Gaming do is shut out OMG during the draft. OMG have very limited character pools. Abuse that. Do what Overclockers did to them yesterday, because Overclockers are not a better team than Bizarre Gaming. We know that statistically. That's not BM, that's just what happened. They lost the game and they lost it badly. So, what needs to happen is look at what Overclockers did. Look at how they beat this OMG roster. They did it by outdrafting them. They did it by exploiting their limited hero pool. If you see them going for something as simple as a Fortress composition, that's what they're going for. You can't beat the Fortress without backline sustain. You need to be able to deal with the tanks, and I'm sure Bizarre Gaming know that. They thought they could get away with just styling on them using Raz Richter, and that was not enough. They never were able to take out the frontline LZ. That's something a Telenas or another backline marksman would have been able to give them. Now, into the second phase, I just want a better draft. And if they do that, I think Bizarre Gaming absolutely can still come out on top.
They very much have the potential to pull off the reverse sweep. This fight here, you just witnessed it. The peel on the Telenas, the flank going in there. Every single thing about that fight was textbook OMG.
Beautifully done. OMG take the front lines, and then they just set up. And this, again, Jami was such a star for the team. He dove in, and he almost got them this fight. He got Moon, and he got XH so low. And then all the shields came through. XH pulled back. The entire Chinese team collapsed, and OMG held the front lines, and XH carried through the damage to carry them to victory.
They just need to do it one more time here to upset Bizarre Gaming and put themselves in a tie-break situation with Overclockers, the team that put them down yesterday. They're looking for a shot at redemption.
They need a shot at redemption, because if they don't win this 2-0, if OMG do not win this next game, they are out of the AIC. It's a lot of pressure.
That is a lot of pressure. That is an excellent amount. Yeah. Well, I mean, say that one more time, because I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
If OMG do not win this series 2-0 against Bizarre Gaming, theoretically, the best team in Thailand, they are out of the AIC.
So their backs are against the wall here. If they had lost that, as we should have probably led with that. That would have been a good story.
They're climbing the wall, Paul. Their backs are up against the wall and they're climbing it.
Yeah,
it's some kind of crazy chimney maneuver. It's working basically.
It's like that scene in Emperor's New Groove where they fall on the thing with the log and they've got to put their backs together and climb up it. Yeah,
I'll have to Google it.
Have you not seen? We really need to work on your. Okay.
I was born in 1999.
Right.
I don't think you realize
right.
This
I do forget. I do forget sometimes. Yeah, that's fine. You're gonna watch it and you're gonna love it.
That is a massive upset for OMG. It doesn't mean that this series is over, because we do know Bizarre Gaming are an incredibly good mental team. They're an incredibly accomplished team and an incredibly well-practiced team. If any team will not be troubled by a game 1 loss, it is them. And like I said, I feel like their draft was pretty objectively awkward. So coming into this game 2, if they have a little bit better draft, I'm not going to go ahead and say they need to sustain frontline. That's what they needed last game. I would hope they don't let the Chinese side set up such an obvious fortress composition again, because that really was kind of telegraphed. And if they're going to allow them to set up the obvious telegraph fortress composition, fine. Maybe you just let them do what they want because you know what it is and you play into it. Then, yes, you have the repositioning tools. Raz, not bad. You need sustained backline damage to deal with the frontline tanks, because we could see the initiation, the dive was working. They were consistently, with the aid of Jomi and Get Search, able to blitz down the backline, but that's not enough.
They just need to have that additional level of sustainability. I'm not talking about,
Toro.
No, I'm not talking about Toro.
The AIC, 100% win rate in games against OMG. Just saying, statistically, be an incredible draft.
Paired with whom?
No, it would not be a good draft. They should not draft Toro.
I called your bluff,
Please
TJ.
do not draft Toro. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
We had a whole Reddit thread about that. Did you know that? With the Toro draft?
Really?
Yeah. It actually had, people were talking about it.
If I see one Toro in my games, if I lose one ranked game because you guys thought Toro was meta,
chat, you know what you have to do.
I'll turn this broadcast around.
Shh, shh, shh. I'd like to see you try. As we get into our second draft here in just a second.
Bizarre Gaming, unexpectedly challenged by OMG. And they may have to change things quickly. Oh my lord, that OMG coach is intense. I saw that during the group stage as well. They were winning their game versus Overclockers. They took game 1, and their coach is just screaming at them. I don't know what it is, but that coach is opinionated.
Yeah, he is certainly something. And I'm going to make sure that my stream is up to date, because you are a million years ahead of me right now. And that's A-okay.
I see the future.
Yes, you do.
I'm the shouty Chinese coach.
Oh, yeah.
Would you like me to slow down?
No, I'm good. I fixed it.
Okay,
Don't touch anything. I got this. We're waiting for them to get started. Yeah, no, don't touchy. Not touchy.
I think there's a little bit of a longer pause here, because Bizarre Gaming, who do look rather put out again, there are some smiles, are trying to stabilize their composition, right? Figure out what went wrong. Was it just the draft? If it was just the draft, that's an easy fix. You just draft better, and they certainly have the coaches, the minds to do it. If it wasn't the draft, if it was in-game, as I do somewhat think it was, what went wrong there? And it was not just some basic mechanical mistakes in a few fights. I feel that there was overall a lack of respect for OMG. They definitely were taking a few more aggressive fights. You saw it after Jomi stole the Abyssal especially. We had a moment where Johnny stole the Abyssal, and then the team got the buff, and they immediately run forward 2v5 and try and take a fight. Obviously didn't go well. Respect your opponents. OMG are a darn good team.
Oh yeah, they are oh so solid. And they show that they have that raw team play. They have the pure mechanics. Yeah, they might not have the hero pools, but in that situation, they were actually able to pull off the outdraft. Their drafting has improved dramatically. Clearly, they've been putting in their homework. That's the sort of thing that transcends individual game-specific stuff. That's a MOBA constant, the ability to draft those OPs compositions. And right now, we're seeing a somewhat similar start to what we saw last game.
Yeah, it does look that way. Valheim, the first plan for OMG. Bizarre Gaming again, seed first pick. They want the red side. That's been a consistent from Bizarre Gaming, and actually a lot of Thai teams, because they value the 1-2 draft they can get going with the Lindis. They didn't put Defoxen on a Lindis that last game, and he looked somewhat underwhelming on a melee. I'd like to see him shift back over to the Lindis now that it's almost guaranteed to get through the draft. However, this Richter might get through the draft as well. This Ignis might get through the draft as well. I'd side with letting the Richter through and banning out Ignis here. Bizarre Gaming do have the choice. They'll ban out Ignis. Richter goes through. Now you go 1-2. Lindis, maybe Malik as a follow-through.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind seeing that here. The Raz also needs to be something that is given consideration. But
no,
the Richter...
Error was trash last game. You don't need to prioritize the Raz for him. Get the Malik. Take it away from OMG. I'm being opinionated here.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fair. That's fair. Look, Wise Malik was
if
dope.
Error, I don't think it was Error's fault that he wasn't able to succeed last game. Because he was on the Raz, he wasn't able to succeed in mid lane, and that wasn't because of him, that was because he was put up against Ignis, and repeatedly things didn't go well. But I think there are enough mage options, and you have a deeper mage pool than OMG. So don't worry about drafting a mage right now. Instead, go Lindis, Malik, and take the tank away from OMG. They'll go Mina.
They're instantly looking about that denial of dive. And we saw it earlier into something like the Cricknack, which is a possibility into that. Oh, no. It's like they hurt your soul, TJ. And I actually agree with this pickup.
I'm actually just yelling so loud in California that they can hear me. It's just how that's working.
I mean, that makes sense. You know, that's how sound. I don't know a lot about it. I feel like that's how it works, though.
I do. So yeah, this would be really good, not just because the Malik is a good one too with the Lindis, but because it would take something away from OMG, because they do have a limited character pool, but they side back. They're more worried about the dive. The Mina's also good. The reason it's good into this is because the Richter will be diving, and because of that, they theorize that OMG will be drafting a melee in the jungle and some follow-through. If they pull out Zephyrs, Malik, that kind of thing again, then this Mina is really good because it can shut down that push. I do think, however, that the OMG character pool is not deep enough for that to be a serious problem. They're probably never going to run, say, a Cricknack. So I want to see more Bizarre Gaming just focusing on taking away things that OMG play well, because that will put them on the back foot.
Speaking of things that OMG play well, I have to look towards this potential Lumber pickup there. Okay, they do change it up, but even still, the Chognar, I like this decision, the Chaos Protection, of course. Having that hard counter to the Mina, having him there, and we've seen some stellar Chognar play the last few days. I always ask for the frame-perfect Chaos Protection, and we've seen a lot of them.
And I don't know how, I don't know exactly how much time LC's put on the Chognar, but given his performance last game, if he's still feeling that hot, I would bet on him on any character. Or I wouldn't bet against him, rather. Ooh, so this is a little bit of what I was asking for. Takeaway options. If they're going for a dive initiation comp over on OMG, take away the obvious jungle melee that they've proven they can run, draft it to your side, and see what they do. This will mean that it's a side lane Lindis coming through. Defoxen occasionally rotates to the side lane to make that happen. Or sometimes they just will run Defoxen on the melee, put him on the Zephyrs, and rely on the fact that your side lane can support it.
Yeah, this is interesting here. Oh, yeah, no, I actually like this, because, like, dive the dive. Like, this actually makes a lot of sense. A lot of counter initiation potential there from the Zephyrs and those big death scythes. into Dark Dominions, into that Death from Above. That is a great stellar combo. You can land the entrapments as well. On top of that, lots of mass AoE damage. Marja being denied as well as Natalia. So I actually don't think Natalia was going to be the pickup here for them at all because, well, it's not locked in yet, but I hope they don't lock it in because I feel like Bizarre Gaming is going for a little bit more dive, and I feel like the Natalia is just way too static to synergize with this.
Bizarre Gaming, should they get the Natalia, that would cycle or fit really well with the Mina, though. So I actually don't disagree with it being a possibility. I think I side with you that it's, of their options, not the most likely, but it is certainly something they should have been aware of. For this ban, I want to see it target mages, for this final ban for OMG, I want to see them keep targeting mages. XH has already got his. That doesn't mean that they can really challenge the character pool presented by the mid lane. Error has a lot of options, but if you can limit away the things that you're worried about in the Natalia with their burst onto squishier characters, then you can actually create a lot. This Malik ban, I don't like because it limits their own pool. They play Malik really well, and they're looking for an initiation call. They should be trying to draft it themselves, and if they instead put the threat onto mages, then that mage has to be drafted first by Bizarre.
We do have the ban there on the Alistair, which means the Malik did actually slip on through. If I'm Bizarre Gaming, I need to look towards that right here, or right now. I need to make sure I secure that shock with the combo that I just described. Just adding more chaos, adding more stuns, and adding more damage.
I don't know. There are a lot of options here. The decision they're trying to make right now is, do they rush getting a mage, or do they challenge the Malik? If they challenge the Malik, that throws me a lot of questions about what their side lanes look like, because the Malik will have to play split from the Lindis, and I'd normally put Lindis in bot lane and Abyssal lane, and I normally put the Malik in bot lane and Abyssal lane. So that would be an interesting comp, and I agree with them instead going with the mage first and letting OMG have the Malik.
Potentially there, I was going to say. Kilgroth is being hovered here into the amount of CC the Bizarre Game is pulling out. Yeah.
But they don't have... This is the limit to the pool. This is why I was encouraging them to target the jungle earlier. Because they took away that Zephyrs, they're now having to kind of stretch their legs a little bit, and they're not quite sure which they want. Kilgroth or Kriknak. To an experienced team, that would be an obvious choice. To this team, they genuinely don't know, because they have not played very many games on the Western edition of Arena of Valor. Is this another Wonder Woman jungle? I think it is.
It is. I think it is. Wow. Okay. I mean, I didn't hate it the last time we saw it, but I wasn't like floored by it.
I wasn't really I wasn't really expecting to get to know that Wonder Woman jungle was a thing today, but it does look like it's now the world we live in. And hey, the ideal Wonder Woman jungle I don't think we still have seen, but no. Ideally that extra frontline brawl with the damage potential it puts up, I think that definitely could be what they're looking for, especially as an opportunity to go toe-to-toe. The problem is, you know who's really good against Wonder Woman, you know who would enable this dive, and you know who was just left on the board.
That Malik. I'm actually really liking the draft.
Their lanes is a bit of a mess, as previously talked about, unless they're running this Zephyr's side lane, which is possible. That's what they're doing. Zephyr's side lane. And Defoxen in jungle. That's why their lanes won't be a mess. That's why it works, and I am on board.
I like both of these drafts, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like OMG's is definitely a little more risky. It's a little lighter weight. Yeah, you're gonna have the Wonder Woman as your jungler, so you're not probably gonna build her too tanky necessarily. So they don't have the strongest frontline takeover for OMG. Over on this side, they have a lot of everything amazing. They have so much CC potential, so much raw damage. I love it. LZ will need to be a dark god.
LZ will need to be great, but I think we have a really interesting jungle matchup now. Defoxen playing one of his key characters. He's insanely good at the Lindis into a Wonder Woman dive comp. I think this could go really, really well for Bizarre Gaming, but it is all about the jungle control again. And they failed at jungle control game one. OMG were able to bully them out of it quite quickly. they're able to farm up well and use that jungle control successfully, I do think it will be an easy victory for Bizarre Gaming. Their odds of being able to do that unhindered, though, are very low if OMG are bringing the same aggression they brought to Game 1.
Well, we're going to see if they can make it happen here as we get into game number 2, OMG, up against Bizarre Gaming. The horn has sounded, and we get into our second game right here. I have to watch these key, highly contested early game picks. I have to watch the Raz, the Lindis, and the Richter.
I just got a message about tiebreak criteria. We're wondering about that because this would put OMG in tiebreaks with overclockers. It's done by game time. So as you see this lower third pop up, if overclockers or if OMG win this game within 15 minutes and 4 seconds, they will advance. If they do not, they will lose.
Wow. I wonder what happens if they do it exactly to the second.
Sorry?
I said, I wonder
what happens if they do it exactly. I think it's just with him. Other fun note: if OMG win within 10 minutes, they're the first place seed out of the group.
Oh my, that's interesting. Okay, I like this. Is a very interesting format here. I've never really seen anything like this with game time.
It's kind of interesting. Okay, OMG. Making us all a little bit stressed. They must be as well, though. But that much of a time deadline against them. Bizarre Gaming should be trying to win this early game. DeFoxen's very, very good at it. If he just manages to play hyper aggro, if he just manages to zone into the enemy jungle, he will be, I think, the favored in the jungle matchup, given that we don't yet know what a Wonder Woman can do.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to see what S686 can do with this build, because we saw we're seeing already a variation in that from the last time we saw that jungle Wonder Woman, and I saw some potential, but I wasn't fully convinced. I want to be convinced because I think this hero is a whole lot of fun to watch and a whole lot of fun to play.
Fox into the sky will play back, staying safe as the pressure comes their way. OMG in the mid lane. Do have quite an early group for them. They're definitely looking perhaps conscious of this, well, definitely conscious of this time limit, looking to grab some early game kills.
And already we're seeing both teams making some initial kind of pokes back and forth, but neither side really wants to overcommit at this stage. Though as I say this, Zephys is making this little potential. I thought he was going to go in a little bit harder here on this top side, and yes, it is now Bizarre Gaming looking to establish dominance here in game number 2. They need to take back the momentum from OMG that they built in game number 1.
And Bizarre Gaming want to do that again by bullying out jungle. Error just needs to hold mid lane, and then if they can get to Foxton with a few bodyguards to pressure. Oh, that was nice flicker. Mid-Riki shot cast. That's mechanics. Sorry.
I would agree. Those mechanics were absolutely sick. It all started off, though, S686 just doing work during all of that. So, nicely done there. LZ will dodge out the Reiki shot, which is nice.
Ooh, Hex H.
Oh, they're going in?
Am I ahead of you?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, sir.
Nice play by XH, though, with a deep dive in the meantime. There will be some pressure down bot.
Yeah, we see XH getting that kill down there and able to actually extricate himself from that situation. Really nicely done there from OMG. We do see the counter kill occurring in the bottom lane as DeFoxen and Sky get the kill on the Moon.
I should be synced up with you. DeFoxen and Sky will retreat back, play behind their tower, now encountering LZ down there. As OMG try and play defense now across the map. 4 minutes in from their time limit. Leaves them just 11 minutes to win this game.
Almost a dead even in terms of gold right now. Bizarre Gaming not really able to massively extend their lead here despite having that Abyssal Dragon, and S686, his punish timing is literally perfect.
And that punish timing is mechanics, which will be shared across both games. Very, very similar mechanics in the Chinese sister game. So he just gets to train that up. That will be the Abyssal Dragon over to Bizarre Gaming, making their gold ahead for the first time, despite OMG's aggressive jungle pressure. Bizarre Gaming now have the lead.
Yeah, pulling that forward right now. trying to extend it as much as they can here. Having 2 Abyssal Dragons to your name is a very easy way to get that done. But I'm watching towards 070, because if his flicker taunts can be on point as we've seen some earlier today, that's how you win games right there. That's how you set stuff up. That's how you enable your team and enable order to just get those sick clutch kills. 070, he needs to play on top of his game.
Ooh, that's a good engage down bottom. Sky will shock back in, trying to keep the fight going versus OMG.
We do have the Dark Dominion, the Braces submission though to get everyone else on top of that. The Chaos Protection from LZ.
That was perfect! LZ saves the team! Just as 070 is going in for the Dark Dominion, the entire team is given temporary immunity. Moon manages to back out, and OMG will live to fight another day.
And now we see SSA going back in with the lasso, absolutely executing Defox in there. And Sky might be the next target that Dark Dominion from 070, but I think that might have been a little bit of an error. Speaking of error, he is trying to secure a kill right there, but not able to make it happen.
And Moon can just chip away. Probably won't be tanking for that minion, but it was an option. Sky's nearby, so he'll just use the Eagle Eye. Continue to chip away at the base's HP. The main purpose of this fight right now is for OMG to gain control whilst that Abyssal Dragon is coming up within the next 20 seconds. Any kills or ground control they find right now carries directly over to their odds of securing the next Abyssal Dragon, and therefore the game.
And now, oh no, XH!
What are you doing?
Just absolute destruction from him, knowing exactly how far he could go underneath that tower, feeling way too safe was error. This is just really not his series.
OMG are literally speedrunning right now. About 9 minutes remain on their clock. If they win this game within 15 minutes, this series will go their way, and they will be officially credited as the #2 seed out of groups.
If they win it under 10 minutes, they actually come out as the #1 seed. What a like to go into this match 0-2 to leave in the #1 seed would be, I think, more than OMG could even ask for.
With 3 minutes on the clock, that's not looking likely. Possible, perhaps, with an insane Dark Slayer pick, but I think it's not something they should be looking for. We've only seen a few games even end close to 10 minutes. 15 minutes is doable, but they'll have to be very aggressive. And you can see Bizarre Gaming managing to find split push elsewhere on the map, getting rid of that tower in the meantime.
I mean, nicely done there from them. They do have a dead even tower standing right now. Neither side, again, has made a huge effort to actually look towards that pushing. Really, it's often with these two teams off the back of a team fight and taking, 1 or 2 towers. So we'll see if one of those squads can start to extend that lead here. We're looking towards these high grounds as we get into the late game, because we talked about this the last time around. What team do you think has the advantage the later this goes?
I think if we go hyper late game and Defoxen's doing well, then it's Bizarre Gaming. Same for Moon in reverse.
All right, I would not disagree at all. This Talon already is hitting like an absolute truck. 5 kills to 1. Look at how fast this tower falls. There's no minions there. That's just the Eagle Eye. That's just the Moon and his auto attacks. And already in the mid as well, a lot of pressure is coming on in.
The tie-break timer is ticking. This is got to be one of the most nerve-wracking experiences of OMG's career. They're rushing the Dark Slayer, perhaps well aware of this. Definitely why they go for such a risky play. Bizarre Gaming, maybe not expecting that level of risk, won't even have the rotate. They won't even have the vision. Dark Slayer and the Drake to Bizarre Gaming with 8-9 minutes on the clock.
They really need to push in with this as soon as humanly possible. They want to try and continue this momentum. They already have a pretty okay gold lead. They want to just push this even further right now. And of course, utilizing this map objective, that Drake. So the longer this goes on, the more it's giving Bizarre Gaming a chance to just kind of catch up here.
The Drake, if it's summoned, will grant them a few towers. I think they ought to be focusing the bottom lane, just speedrunning one lane at this point. It's OMG, as we approach the 10-minute mark, have just 5 minutes left to end this game. If they want to continue in the AIC, they will be able to get the Drake. They will get the Abyssal Dragon. Double buff now. It is the bot lane push I called for, and they have an opportunity, a chance to take a high ground.
The rest of the team needs to come in, though. The rest is back. Zephyrus is here, but they do not have the Rector. This is a 5v4 situation. Moon needs to go in and not overextend. I'm looking for the death from above. There it is from Jami. And the shock is going to be the next target. The flicker from 070. As Richter is moving into the mid, but this is a 3v5 situation that cannot overextend.
The Richter, Raz, XH, and Y are pushing mid in the meantime. They're accepting they probably won't get a high ground here down bottom. They will instead get extra towers in mid. At this point, we have officially exceeded the first place requirement.
So at this point, Bizarre... Ooh, okay. Bizarre Gaming will be sitting in first place at the end of this still. But this is a very good position for OMG. I think they just need to keep the pressure up. That they can't let this sit back. They cannot rest on their laurels here. Do they know? Are they aware that they have a timer?
Absolutely. That's absolutely what that longer break was in between game 1 and 2. They were getting notified of this information. 5 minutes remain on the clock.
And I love this. Every single time Talanis can do so, it just chips away at this tower. Just in case, you know. And now we're seeing the shot go in. Moon is going to be the target. They're going to try and lock him down right now. There's the flicker going in once again. Moon is absolutely wrecked right now, but he's surviving through this. He has the lifesteal. The heal is there as well. Oh no, that was massive. Just too late. But actually, DeFoxen has enough HP to work with. Richter was not here. That was a 5v4 once again, but the Richter is pushing in now onto the mid. As you said, 070 missed a critical death site in the mix of all of that. And now, S686 and crew are pushing out on the high ground.
He missed the death site, and LZ had the chaos protection to defend against the Dark Dominion. He only needed it for that. Now Y dives to Foxen. If he gets this kill, and he does, they have a chance to take the high ground. He will go down in trade, but it might just be enough. I don't think they have the HP, though.
Looks like they're going to back up for now. Bizarre Gaming have held on for dear life at this stage, as they just need to keep going, but OMG must win before 15:04 the next round. They have 3 minutes to make it happen.
This Abyssal Dragon could be their ticket into the final phase of the AIC.
They're not going to be able to secure it here, though. XH going in. There's the nice Dark Dominion as XH somehow survives through all of this. And 070 will be the target. And in the back to air fall, or does not fall, I should say. The Reiki shot goes on through, but Moon has survived. And he is going to continue to just this critical damage to Foxen, though. He is the damage dealer for Bizarre Gaming. He cannot fall if they have any hope of defending this tower. But they still only have a few minutes to make this happen.
12 minutes and a half on the clock. It's going to be a rush for the Abyssal Dragon while OMG desperately try and get the tools they need to get into the final phase of the AIC. That was a brilliant fight. Again, saved by LZ, whose chaos protections and general support play has been impeccable.
My heart is absolutely racing right now for OMG. They're pushing in now once again in 2 lanes simultaneously. They need to go right now. They have this team fight buff. They need to group as 5. They need to go win this game.
OMG do have the pressure. The group on the bot lane. This team fight will likely decide the game. 2 minutes remain on the clock for them to take the game and for them to advance in the AIC.
Moon is continuing to chip away at this high ground. 070, you know he wants to flicker in, find the death side, find the taunt. But Moon's positioning is going to be crucial here. He does have the flicker for when he needs the minions are pushing in on the high ground. That's going to be the first tower to fall. I'm looking for the brace submission. They're going in on the follow-up. There's the lasso. It finds all 3. The shields are real. They're pushing in towards the core.
1 minute 30 on the clock. 1 high ground broken, but the buff's fading. They have 30 seconds left to take this team fight.
They're going on in right now. Continuing.
LZ.
15:04, I believe, is the time. They have a little bit of time. There's the shock going in. Sky is going to be the target. Moon to follow up. They need another minion wave. They're pushing in the mid right now. All right.
This super minion wave is legitimately the last hope of OMG. They need to carry it through to the core.
They're going in right now. Moon needs to hit on the core. The minions are here. Can they make it happen? They're going in. 14:08. That's trying to make it. Moon needs to hit the core. The minions have all fallen. This is actually getting so close to the end.
The minions are dead. They can't win the game. He needs to take the high ground tower. The only way OMG win is Moon's 1v2.
He needs to make this happen right now. He has the Eagle Eye going in onto Jami. There's the death from above, the 2v1 situation. He does have the Dark Blessing, but it's not going to be enough. TJ, that is going to be it.
Moon, not enough. Even with the Blade of Eternity, that will be it. Likely, no way in the world, except if the minions had somehow pulled it off. OMG cannot advance to this final phase of the AIC. Overclockers will be coming through in that second phase.
What a close showing here from them. Bizarre Gaming keeping OMG back in this game. And that is just going to be it. 15-04. That is OMG not being able to advance. And you can see it. They know that's it.
That will be the 15:04 time clock expires. It's not over. OMG could still win this game, at least go home with some extra pride in their pocket. But Bizarre Gaming have more control of the map than ever. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that that's stung.
What a way to go out, too. Just barely losing it there at the end. You could see the desperation with which they're playing. There's a couple small team fight errors that they made. I think it was just the nerves getting them. My heart was pounding. I can't imagine how they were feeling towards the end of it. Now Bizarre Gaming is pushing in on towards the high ground right now. Jami has been playing like an absolute beast on the Cephas.
Jami will push forward as well. This isn't over. Bizarre Gaming could still take the set.
The back door?
Oh, but the back door.
The back door. This is literally going to be it. He's got the minions.
They interrupt the recall.
That's it. That's
Jami
GG.
can't get through.
That's
LG.
GG.
Oh, dude. That is beautiful.
Bizarre Gaming are going to fall here 2-0 to OMG. Just not quite enough from them. They do not advance, but they go on still with the 2-0 victory. Pride in their pocket, as you say. You can see the frustration on their faces. Oh, man.
They won't be advancing at the AIC. They didn't win their ticket. They did win, however, that game. And my heart and the Chinese hope go out despite a 2-0 victory. It is mathematically impossible for them to advance given the points. That means the teams advancing from Group B will be, oh my god, in a tied place, actually, with Bizarre Gaming. I don't know how the... I'd bet Bizarre Gaming come out in first because they had a quicker victory versus Overclockers than Overclockers had against OMG. That's my bet. But it will be a... two teams from the group going on, Bizarre Gaming and Overclockers. Oh my god. Exiting the AIC at this stage.
You hate to lose on a win. That's just no fun. Man, I would have preferred that we saw a second tiebreaker, a tiebreak game again between OMG and Overclockers. I know, I understand there's only so many hours in the day to get that done, but still, that would have been nice to see.
Well, if you liked that tiebreak action, can I inform you about our next set?
You can.
Alpha Reds currently have the record 1-2. ALG are 0-2. They are playing. If ALG win 2-0, they have a better record at 2-2 than Alpha Red. If ALG do not win 2-0, they do not advance at the AIC. The lone North American hope is just as up against the wall as OMG just were. And they have arguably... Actually, no, I won't say they had a tougher opponent, because that was Bizarre Gaming. They have just as tough an opponent to get past.
Yeah, this is going to be a very rough series for ALG. All the weakness that we saw 2 days ago needs to be cleaned up. They need to have been practicing their hearts out. 80s Hero needs to step up. He needs to stop playing so aggressive. And they need to build on their momentum and not get cocky when they make a good play. They need to play as a squad, and if they do that, maybe, just maybe, they can take it over Alpha Red. But Alpha Red, such a terrifying, terrifying squad.
Absolutely. They are one of the best teams here at the AIC. Many people predicted Alpha Red might be able to upset J-Team. That didn't happen, but they did make it look good. So, ALG have their work cut out for them. It is not impossible that the Western teams continue. They made the quarterfinals last AWC, so maybe they have a chance this time around as well.
Well, we're going to see if they can do it here. Again, they are definitely the favorites coming into this. The last Western hope alive, it is Allegiance. Keep in mind, this is only 3 of the 5 members who won in Brazil. They picked up Zane and 80s Hero from Tribe. So going to be filling in there. Zane, though, I actually think Statistically on paper, he actually performed better than Rocker. He's been looking really, really good. The young gun, only 18 years old, coming in, stepping up on the world stage.
Yeah, even through substitution, Allegiance have looked very, very good. And maybe, especially with the example of OMG in front of them, they can avoid the same fate that befell the Chinese roster.
So let's take a look at some of these replays from this last game here. As we're getting into it there, I'd accidentally paused my clean feed, which is why we're just seeing this now as we get back into so many fantastic pickups here. And in the end, it just, OMG, this was the fight. This is where they made some of the sloppy mistakes, diving in a little bit too far, not targeting the core while they had, at that moment, if instead of chasing over the core, if every single member had just focused it, that would have been game.
I feel the more intelligent play at this point, at this specific point, instead of chasing the kills, just have Moon fall back and take the tower, they have another wave, and maybe they still win it. There were a lot of things that might have been able to make this work, but yeah, that was heartbreaking for OMG, to say the least.
Because like, frankly, in my mind,
stepped up so much.
Yeah, because they deserve, in my mind, you know, they deserve to advance.
No, you know what? No, because if they deserve to advance, they wouldn't have lost to a Toro yesterday.
Right, never mind.
Sorry, if you lose to the third place Vietnamese team, you don't get to then turn around and beat Bizarre Gaming. That's not how it works.
Unfortunately, that is how it works. Maybe Bizarre Gaming is just not as good as you think they are.
That is a increasingly worrying sign, I think. Bizarre Gaming have looked very shaky.
They look shaky.
That was predicted to be the best team out of Thailand, they are not looking nearly as dominant as they have looked in regional play.
Clearly, this I think a lot of that was coming into some of these drafts here, so maybe that's an area they need to look to improve as we get into this. But guys, you know, we have one more series left here. I'm Nurm, that's TJ. ALG going up against Alfred is next. Don't go anywhere. It is now, well, you know, it's the morning. Maybe start breakfast if you're on the East Coast. If you're in Europe, it's already the afternoon. Go grab some lunch and come right back. Check out these games.